Welcome to the Complete Story series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. We turn it into a motion comic. I act out voices or I get super descriptive as to what's happening, but I tell you the story so that you know what is happening in current comic books or in older comic books, allowing you to go buy the next issues. Today we're going to be continuing our coverage of Batman No Man's Land. And when we last left off, Gotham had been considered a no man's land, separated from the rest of the US government. And Batman was discovering that he needed to handle things in a different manner. That the old villains of his had created gang wards across all of Gotham. And how was Batman going to handle this? Well, he was going to make the Batman gang. But today I ask you, what about the other superheroes in Batman's roster of Bat family? What about one of my favorites from the 90s, Azrael? Well, today we're going to tell you how Azrael is being involved in this battle. I hope you enjoy.
For a brief moment, the world is calm, silent. As lightning strikes, it makes the sound as if the universe itself was split into two. As Azrael checks his costume, he's struck from behind by a pair of fists. A man shouts that he is one of them, and Azrael yells, "No, I'm the guy who dragged your sorry tails out of the fire. As for my clothing, don't you recognize the new Red Cross uniform? Get a clue." But as Azrael walks off, he thinks to himself that one more punch and he would have been out. The old Azrael would have handled the three of them within seconds. The new version? Let's just hope that there isn't a pack of angry Cub Scouts up ahead. The costume he wore before he made Azrael. But now it went up in smoke along with Lad's home. The new suit is, well, he's just regular old Jean-Paul Valley, dressed for Halloween. However, there are more pressing matters to focus on. Lad has information about Nick Scratch, and now that Lad is gone, Azrael follows the tracks to an old church nearby, and he notices muddy footprints walking throughout the halls. The footprints lead to a dusty organ, and they just stop. Azrael looks around the seams of the organ, and he begins to pull on it, revealing a hidden pathway behind. As he shines his light, a man lunges forward to the pipe, knocking the flashlight out of his hand. He shouts that he won't get him, but Azrael tells him that he does not plan to harm the man he spoke with earlier about Scratch. His name is Azrael. After calming Lad down, he explains that yes, he does know something. Nick Scratch had an uncle who owned a fishing lodge at Dixon Lake near Bloodhaven. It is possible that Nick himself went there to hide out. Not many people know of the lodge's existence. With that newfound knowledge, Azrael sets out for Dixon Lake. And just like before, the storm is fierce. But even as the rain hits his face with the force of a slap, he presses on. Just then the lightning strikes with a sound that can shatter the night. Azrael pauses, seeing the lightning strike right next to him, and he thinks to himself that after just a few more yards, he would have been nothing more than a pile of ash. He should return and wait for the storm to die out, but he won't. Besides, what are the chances of that happening again? 1 in a million? As long as he can get to the car. A second bolt strikes, but this time under Azrael's feet. He jumps out of the way, the ringing in his ear causing him to lose hearing for a moment. But after a few seconds, sound gradually returns, and with it the sound of rain, wind, and voices. 3 men walk up, all branding pitchforks, stating that they know who he is. Scratch must want them to kill him. Azrael stands up asking, "Why? Why do you follow Scratch?" And the men tell their stories. One pumped gas, which was boring. The second was an accountant, which was banal. The third was a lawyer, which was both boring and banal. Scratch gave them purpose, guidance, made them special. Azrael listens, knowing that Scratch has relieved them of their actions and thoughts, ultimately taking away their humanity. He was like them once. The world was a simpler place. Azrael readies himself for a fight, getting ready to draw his blades, but he realizes that this is not the right costume. He doesn't have blades. He prepares himself for the worst when suddenly lightning strikes again, except this time it hits Azrael. He falls to the ground, his body smoldering, and the 3 men ask, "Did Nick Scratch do that?" He must have. How else could it have happened? Either way, their job is done. But before the men leave, Azrael drags his fingers through the dirt as he pulls himself up, telling them, "No, it isn't." Later, Azrael will question why he isn't dead. Was it a natural phenomenon? A miracle? Whatever the case, something inside him changed. His movements, his accuracy, his form, all of it worked together to fight these men. Mind and body, quick and fluid and certain. As Azrael kicks and knocks out the last devil, he allows himself to smile, and with that, the storm passes. The earth is quiet again. Azrael travels the land, passing Bloodhaven and arriving at Dixon Lake. When he gets out of the lodge, he notices the tracks in the ground are still fresh. Did someone come or did they go? Is someone inside aiming a gun at him? Is he going to step on a mine secretly planted in the ground? He asks himself these questions, but still pushes through, kicking the door to the lodge in. There's no sign of Scratch, but there is a note. Azrael, I thought you might get this far. Sorry I missed you. Gone to Gotham City. See you there. Your pal, Nick. Skip ahead 11 days, because it's been 11 days since she was trapped there. The water is nearly gone. The nights are freezing. 3 days since she's last eaten. Welcome to Gotham City. As curiosity sets in, the young woman looks down a dark hole asking if he's down there. Can he hear her? What does he want? And from the shadows, a large man sits on a pile of bones stating that he thought that she already knew. He wants her. Meanwhile, just outside of the city, Nick Scratch tells the guards that he must get over the river. Those poor, deeply troubled souls over there, they need salvation. They need a message that only he can bring them. The guards are hesitant at first, claiming that they have their orders to not let anyone over. But the more that Nick speaks, the more the guards accept. While Nick convinces the guards to grant him passage on the other side of the dock, Azrael watches. He can't hear what they're saying, but he knows that they're planning to ferry Nick across. But before Azrael could act, the older woman by the name of Miss Friedang appears, stating that he has a funny costume. But if he could, she must get over to Gotham. Her daughter is trapped over there, but before she lost contact, her daughter said that she was in terrible danger. She's sorry to ask a thing, but Azrael reluctantly agrees to help, but now instead of just getting himself over, he must find a way to get Mrs. Friedang over. He lights a torch, throwing it into an old truck, and he pushes the flaming truck into the docks. As the guards begin to put the fire out, Azrael takes Mrs. Friedang and jumps onto the boat that was prepared for Nick. As the boat gets ready to sail back across the river, the woman looks back down into the pit, stating that she doesn't see anything. It's so dark. The woman's boyfriend says that he's probably gone. They were up there freezing their butts off, scared by some boogeyman who isn't there. He's going to go down there and search for food. Anything will be better than sitting here listening to her whining. The dumbest thing that he ever did was hook up with a loser like her. As the boyfriend lowers himself down, the woman pulls the rope ladder back up, stating that when he comes back, she'll help him get back up. The boyfriend scoffs, asking, "Come back to you? You're so dumb, you probably believed that I would." Just then a pair of gleaming eyes appears through the darkness, and the large man from before steps out with a knife, asking the boyfriend if he would like to join him for dinner. The boyfriend stumbles back, stating, Wait, you want the girl, right? Yeah, I can get you the girl, no problem, just let me." The large man holds the knife, telling him, "Her time will come." And then a short, ear-piercing scream can be heard as it echoes throughout the city. Over at the Gotham City docks, Nick's boat is secured, and as Nick walks out, he says that he would like to thank them for bringing him over. But before he could leave, a group of thugs walk out wielding pipes and chains, asking what do they have there on the boat. One of the guards grabs his gun, firing at the thugs, but when his shot misses, the thug with the chain swings it, knocking the gun from the guard's hands. Just then, Azrael jumps from the boat, telling everyone to leave. And one of the thugs lunges at Azrael, but just like before, Azrael dispatches him with ease. A kick here, a throw there. The thugs prove to be easy sparring partners. But during the fight, Nick takes his chance to escape into the night. Once everything is over, Mrs. Friedang steps off the boat asking if it's safe now, and Azrael tells her, yes. Let us go find your daughter. However, just across the street, the large man found the woman as she screams for help. Mrs. Friedang says that that's her. That's my daughter, Mitzi. Azrael quickly leaps onto a nearby car and onto the roof of a broken building, separating the man and Mitzi. The man rushes in and Azrael can sense that this man's strength is equal to 3 men and he himself is already exhausted. The man grabs Azrael by the cape and slams him down, and just as Azrael gets back up, he swipes at the man's face, cutting it. The two exchange blows back and forth, but using his large figure against him, Azrael kicks the man back and off the ledge of the building. The man falls several stories down into the street, and when it all seems clear, there's a gunshot. Mrs. Friedang points her gun at Mitzi, stating that she ran away with that animal. She disgraced their family and caused her poor father to have a heart attack. Mitzi looked where the bullet hit and says that she missed. Mrs. Friedang lowers the gun, stating that she knows. She just had to get it out of her system, now give her a hug. Azrael watches as mother and daughter reunite and thinks to himself, another happy ending, another night in no man's land. And Azrael has joined the fray.
No Man's Land is getting heated, isn't it? You see, I want to give you a Batman story every other week, and then on the off week, we tell the other stories. We have ones about this new Batgirl. We have ones about Azrael. No Man's Land is 400 pages, and that is volume 1. Okay, guys? So there's 4 volumes to this series. We're going to be telling you stories for a little while about this entire Batman retaking the No Man's Land, retaking Gotham. So why don't you consider subscribing to our channel if you enjoyed this? We'll be bringing you a weekly video on Batman No Man's Land. It should be coming out Thursdays, but hey, our schedule gets a little mixed up at times. And don't forget to give this video a like if you truly do want more Batman No Man's Land. Why do I keep adding an S to that? Batman's No Man's Lands. Anyway, guys, I'll see you next week right here at Batman No Man's Land, and tomorrow if you're going to watch whatever else we put out.